Okay, so I'd like to talk a little bit about what brought me to this project. For several years, we have focused on RTI interventions and improving our novice students and working with those students. And so at the same time, we're supposed to be doing enrichment with our upper level students. And so the problem for me was always I put so much focus on those lower level students, I felt like I was shortening my higher level students. So that was kind of in the back of my mind to start things with. And one day we were giving out school newspapers, and students are supposed to take those home, share those with their parents. Well, after my class, there were probably 50% or more left in the class, left in the floor, or in the trash can. And so I felt like students weren't really taking ownership in those newspapers, because primarily in our district, teachers will submit pictures and they'll have a little caption, and that's pretty much the whole thing for our particular school. So my idea was, okay, I want my students to take some ownership in the newspaper. So my project was called the Eagle's Nest News, an augmented reality newspaper written for and by students. So I wanted my students to actually decide what was in that newspaper, and I wanted it to be interactive. And so I've always been a Harry Potter fan, and if you've ever watched Harry Potter, you've seen the Daily Prophet. And so I thought, how awesome would that be as a language arts teacher to pick up a newspaper and there's pictures and everything comes to life. And so that was kind of in the back of my mind when I decided for my students to create newspapers. So instead, of course, we don't have that kind of technology, but I did attend a professional development over the summer where I learned about the app Erasma, and I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that or not, but it works with a phone or an iPad, and it's an app that you download, and you can actually take a picture of something, and then you can print your material. And when you scan it with an iPad or an iPhone, whatever's there will actually come to life. So it can cause images to become 3D and actually move. You can include videos. So I thought that's a great way for my students to do one-on-one interviews, and so we can actually make the newspaper more interactive. So that was kind of my thinking when I designed this. So right now I've got 25 students in my enrichment class, and they've already worked on their first run of the newspaper. It's going to be put out to my team, which is about 75 students, next week. So initially we have Chromebooks in my classroom, and we're moving to district-wide Chromebooks for 7 through 12. Actually, tomorrow is the first rollout for those at the middle school. But my students were using the Chromebooks in my classroom, and I pushed out a Google slide. And what I like about Google Slides is that you can format those to different sizes for different purposes. So we created the size of a newspaper, and I sent out a blank document, and I said, okay, you guys have to create your own news. And so they've been working on that project, and for the first issue, they have QR codes that we have put in, so they got some shout outs from teachers about some things that students are doing well, and so they actually incorporated those into a QR code. My goal for next month is to use the iPad Pro that I purchased with my funds for them to actually interview students and teachers around the school and actually use that Erasma app to make things come to life off the paper. So for the first round, they're giving those newspapers out to students in my team, and then hopefully we're hoping after Christmas, after they've had a couple practice runs, they'll actually issue those to the entire school. And so I wanted my kids to be the ones deciding what goes in there, and I'm thinking by doing that, then they're going to take more ownership and they're going to actually care and not leave those lying around. So that's kind of where that came from. So I know that's pretty quick, but that's just kind of the gist. Any questions? The app is free, and if you get on the site, the reason I requested the iPad Pro is because it's supposed to have higher video abilities to manipulate videos and photos, but the app is free, and it has a, I can't remember what they call it. It's like a photo video editing suite that comes with it, and it's all free. And there are actually, I think, Universal Studios in Florida use it as an advertising for their park, and they actually have, there's a symbol, and when you see that symbol, you know that you can scan with that device or with that app, and things will happen. So you can see interviews, you can see, I tested one with like a Coca-Cola can, and when I take I'd hold my phone over, it comes to life and it starts like dancing on my screen. And so I worked with a teacher last year at the middle school. She bought some Brain Space magazines, and the kids got to read those. And when they read those, it was augmented reality and things came to life. And I saw how excited our kids were. And it was non-readers that wanted all of a sudden to read. And so when I saw that excitement, I thought, well, how great would that be to use actual student work for that, to make those so. Any other questions? Aurasma, A-U-R-A-S-M-A. Let me double check to make sure that's. And they call the videos that you create, they're called auras. And so you can, and it all works within their website and their app.